Hello everyone and welcome to another high elo game of Age of Empires. Today the longest ranged bombard cannon in the game takes on the longest ranged foot archer in the game as MbL, playing as the Turks in blue, prepares to take on Vivi, playing as the Britons in red. Now while the players herd their herdables, explore their immediate piggly wiggly surroundings, and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP, a good chance, a good time, an opportunity for us to take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today. Now, the Turks are a civilization built around their love of gunpowder. Their gunpowder units are created faster, have extra HP, and come with cheaper technologies. And some of those gunpowder units, for example, the bombard cannon I just mentioned, can be upgraded to get extra range. Now, staying on brand, their unique unit is the Janissary, a more expensive, overall less accurate hand cannoneer that comes with more HP, a better attack, and more armor, but no bonus versus infantry. Now, to support their heavy but expensive units on the field of battle, the Turks have some pretty cool supporting units. To start with, their scout line units do come with extra pierce armor right from the very beginning of the game. 2+1, which always spells a little bit of bad news bears. For an archer civilization like the Britons, their cavalry archers can be upgraded to get a massive 20 extra HP, and those scout line units I just mentioned automatically become light cavalry and then automatically become hussars the second the Turks reach castle and then Imperial Age, which does give them access to top of the line light cavalry units / raiding units without having to wait or even pay for those upgrades. Now, in order to afford their gunpowder units, which we all know are pretty darn expensive, Turkish gold miners do work faster. Their chemistry upgrade is free of charge for them, and those upgrades I just mentioned where the scout becomes a light cav, becomes a hussar, well, that saves them 1,300 resources. Of that, 650 is gold. Now let's take a look at the civ opposite of the Turks today, the Britons, a civilization built around supporting its ranged units. Their archery ranges work faster. Their foot archers, except for skirmishers, can rather get free extra range in castle and in Imperial. And if that's not enough range for you, all of their foot archers can be upgraded to get even more range. Now, all of this vitamin R is fantastic news for the unique unit of the Britons, the Longbowman, a decent foot archer that comes with a massive 12 tiles of range when fully upgraded. Now, Briton Trebs are also some of the most powerful in the game because they can be upgraded to do blast damage and have 100% accuracy against stationary units. So you do not want to be on the receiving end of a Briton Werewolf Treb. In order to support their military production, Briton town centers do cost 50% less wood, and their shepherds work 25% faster, which means this Piggly Wiggly will get killed, harvested, and eventually eaten at the fair a little bit quicker than normal. Those are the two civilizations we've got in front of us. I'm very excited. We have seen this absolute beast of a player, Vivi, taking on Hera, taking on the Viper, winning, losing, doesn't matter. They have been fantastic games. I'm incredibly curious to see how our Briton handles our Turk today. Speaking of, as the players sit at 16 villagers a pop, let's take a look at the map. First of all, the attack path, pretty A to B, with a little tiny forest here in the center, open in front of our Turkish base, open in front of our Briton base. Okay, so a nice big open map, which usually the cavalry civilization, or at least the civilization with access to the better cavalry, generally tends to have a slight advantage on a bigger open map with fewer choke points where archers and infantry can clump, but we'll see. Never say never. Primary gold for our Turk, nice and secure to the back. Berries exposed to the front. Stone not on the attack path, kind of to the rear position. Extra gold and the bottom right, extra gold to the top right, and extra stone very exposed underneath a hill where already two Billy Club militiamen are waiting to get some kind of damage done. But our Briton, says you've got two. Well, let me introduce you to the number that is one greater than two, and that number is 3. For those of you who need a little bit of help counting, such as myself sometimes. Okay, so 2 ships passing in the night. I don't think they really saw each other, even with this scout. Scouts in Dark Age don't have the greatest line of sight. Primary gold for our Briton exposed to the front, primary stone to the rear, extra gold and stone exposed in the forward position, and third patch of gold all the way off to the side here. Ooh, okay. So a bit of a more exposed resource location for our Briton, who is now engaging into a mill, as he's going to discover very soon, says the caster, there we go, that the Turk is thinking in a similar way. Forest's not very helpful for a forward wall off in the defensive posture here for our Briton, who shoos away the Scout. Scout gets a bunch of HP taken off for absolutely nothing. On this side of the map, though, uh-oh. Briton militiamen are engaging on the high ground against a few villagers. But we are still in Dark Age, so temper your expectations of any kind of very quick unit kills here, as both players try to lure their enemy into the town center fire. I'm going to try my darndest to pivot back and forth as much as I can, keeping an eye on the minimap to see who draws first blood, who gets the first kill of this game. For now, it looks like our Turk wants to make an issue of this. Notices that, hey, your HP is not exactly very good right now. So let me just move out with my units. Where's our Briton? Back home. Walling himself not really fully in, because there's no way MbL is going to run his units through a town center gauntlet here. And so realizes that he can leave that part a little bit open, a little bit more exposed. And here we go. The game of, will the villager lead the army into the town center, or will the scout block the villager and stop the villager from leading the army into the town center? Mill continuing to get attacked here. Armies, I mean, the micro peak APM. Remember the 10-minute mark of the game. We'll see when the peak APM of this game was, but based on this start, based on this start alone, I have ridiculously high expectations for this game. We've got villagers shooing away Dark Age armies who are basically half dead. Dark Age armies who are, I don't know, a little bit of a less than a quarter dead, trying to destroy infrastructure. More militia here for our Turk. You think he was the Bulgarian with the free upgrades here, but oh, wait a second. Maybe the first kill of the game? No. Who the heck is going to take the first kill of the game here? The army for our Turk is more hail. It's got more HP. MbL for his part has more units, but look at the HP on those units. And now they're going to be engaging on the low ground. Looks like our Turk is bringing back his unit, his scout unit at the very least. And there we go. I have no clue who the hell drew first blood. It looks like they are both decaying. Looks like red is decaying a little bit quicker than blue, which tells me it is in fact our Turk who drew first blood. Although you'll have to excuse me if that is incorrect. In any event, almost instantaneous murder, death, suicide, murder, death, kill for the players here, as now the quietest time for 10-12 minutes, and then all of a sudden 3 kills to 2. I love that our Turk is so nonchalant here, doesn't really care, not walling this off, doesn't really fear any kind of follow-up. It is in fact just one spearman. This scout with 10 HP is probably going to be sent on a Harris-style journey of exploration to discover relics and gold and stone and trees and all that kind of good stuff. MbL's scout a little bit healthier, so I don't really anticipate him being sent out into the wilderness. And where is this red scout? Okay, he made it back home. And now the armies are approaching one another. Red is trying to draw this one spearman perhaps into an archer trap. No, never mind. MbL is walling his base, or rather Vivi, my apologies, is walling his base in an odd kind of half shape wall off. The front still very much open, but we are in Feudal, so not many units that can really engage underneath a town center unless you've got the numbers to do it. For example, you can't always send 6 or 7 scouts underneath a town center, but right now, yeah, 6 or 7 scouts is not really an army we're going to be seeing out of our Briton, out of our Turk, out of anybody. Ooh. Forcing a bit of idle time on the Turkish TC is Vivi, who is not done. He is not leaving here, even though he is getting pressed into back home. And now the mill definitely will fall, not quickly, not anytime soon. But this Feudal Age army will eventually get the job done as our Briton. Remember, their extra range +1 and then another +1 kicks in Castle and Imperial. And so no extra range for those units at the moment. Our Turk has literally built, trained one of every single possible unit he can. An archer and a skirmisher, a spearman and a militiaman. He's got that OG scout. Our Briton, who just lost a spearman of his own. Similar mentality, but no more militiamen for him. He is picking off archers, though, which is fantastic. but might want to pull back a little bit now. No sense in losing your own archers to your opponent's skirmishers. And on the other side of the map, it looks like, okay, Vivi's attempt to try to attack some lumberjacks looks like it did find a little bit of HP damage, but now it's getting pushed back. And our Briton on the high ground should take the scout down, unless the HPs don't work out. Yeah, the HP don't work out. For some reason, I thought this Turkish scout was a lot weaker because I assumed it was the OG scout. I think it was a fresh scout. This may have been the OG scout who died here, but it looks like at the same time, our Briton has pushed back the Turkish incursion, and our Turk has pushed back the Briton incursion, and we have reset at the 18-minute mark of the game to 10 kills to 11. And so now let's take a look what's going on in the bases here. Our Turk, one of everything: an archery range, a stable, a blacksmith, a barracks, just missing a market. Our Briton, who now goes full wall off, has a market, 2 archery ranges, a blacksmith, a barracks, no stable. Continues to pump out the bipedal units. I love the placement of the palisade gate here. Although I suspect this is open. No, never mind. There's a palisade wall. Actually, is this walled in? Is that palisade right next to the mill? I feel like there's a space between. Although I'm highlighting now that I see there are 2 palisades. So there is one right north of the mill. So it is in fact walled in. Our Turk expanding with his army eastward. I was wondering where these armies are going, but they're going straight to Castle Age. Vivi is, by the way, going to hit Castle Age 2 minutes ahead of his opponent, but down 6 villagers. And remember, the Britons, they pay half the wood cost for their town center, so he does have the wood for one right now. What he doesn't have is the stone. Second time this game, I'm going to mention the Bulgarians, a civilization that has no part in this game, but they in fact get a 50% stone discount on their TCs. And now all of a sudden, a few archer units are going to get got here by the quicker moving Turkish light cav, but probably something going on inside of MbL's base because he has just lost those 3 scouts. To be fair though, got a good amount of damage. Trading out gold units for trash is never good. Our Briton, for his part, adding padded archer armor, bodkin arrow. So he is committing to the foot archer play, whereas our Turk also going foot archer. Does already have the padded archer. Oh, wrong player, my bad. Does already have the padded archer armor. Oh, look at that. I like that capture age added the cost of the upgrades now. There you go. Food 100, food 150, gold 50. Absolutely fantastic. Capture age is just such a fantastic software. This channel probably, who's kidding who, wouldn't exist without Capture Age. And so big kudos to them as always. Oh no, oh no. MbL says, I don't need to be the Viper. I don't need to stop you with a palisade gate and trap you. I'm just going to body block you with a bunch of light cavalry units. Because, hey, I am in Castle Age right now, and my scouts just became light cav. And Vivi loses a big chunk of his army. Gets a little bit of damage done, but loses it all and has his army count basically reset. And again, 23 minutes in, we are yet again facing off again opposite a very empty, very stone-filled battlefield. Second TC for our Turks next to the gold. He has walled in the right and center positions of his base. Second TC already up for our Briton. Interestingly placed next to the wood, not next to the gold. Villager allocations fairly similar. And it is in fact our Briton now who has a villager lead and is moving out yet again. So for the 3rd time this game, Vivi is moving out. MbL for the 2nd time this game is moving out. In 11 seconds, he's going to have crossbows, and crossbows with the exact same upgrade as the Briton, except that, remember, the Briton is in Castle Age, and therefore his crossbows get 1 extra range. And let's see, yet again, taxing the ability of the caster to capture all of the action happening. High ground crossbows should make quick work of these basic skirmishers. Needs to be careful of the TC, and it looks like MbL is returning home with his archer force. Yeah, so he's going to play a bit more defensive as Vivi actually starts adding in. Okay, now he's adding in the 3rd TC next to gold, not walling himself off at all. not walling himself off or in or whatever the expression happens to be. Whereas MbL has carved up a decent sized chunk of the map with a very secure wood line, very secure gold line, additional wood, a relic, a bear, deer, basically an entire Disney movie walled into this Turkish base. And now he's going to be taking on the longer ranged units. But unlike our Briton, MbL is going to have bloodlines, and he's going to have light cavalry, and he's going to have that extra pierce armor on that cavalry, which, as I mentioned before, is going to be interesting to see how Vivi deals with that. Vivi is housed at the moment, although construction of the town center is almost complete, and an extra house, so not housed for very long. It is very unfortunate for MbL that Vivi has a tiny little tile here that he can use to escape next to the edge of the world, but okay. MbL says, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let me see if I can attack you. I don't know that he necessarily needed to pull that fancy schmancy maneuver there. Probably could have just charged straight down into here. In any event, he does a fun little maneuver, surrounds and obliterates the Briton force. But hey, where army group number 3 didn't work, army group number 4 might, because this time they brought along a knight. No spearmen for you. And so we are seeing a good amount of aggression out of our Briton, which is I don't know what to make of it so far. Let's see if it all works out. At the moment, it is in fact our Turk playing defensively who has more kills, although our Briton does have 1 villager kill, and he is ahead 3 vills to nothing. 3 vills he's ahead. Ballistics for our Briton, who is housed again. What is going on with Vivi? Okay, right as I say that, he becomes unhoused. It's an MbL thing. Whether you're MbL or playing against MbL, it seems that housing is always an issue here. A 3rd town center going up for our Turk next to the stone. Are we going to get to see a castle? He's starting to add in cavalry archers. He has bloodlines. He just finished getting husbandry, adding a slew of economic upgrades as well. Will put him basically on par with the Britons' economic upgrades at the moment, with bowsaw and wheelbarrow. And I love that there's this big, strange, hilly, turd-like shaped set of elevations here. And I'm very curious to see how the players navigate the elevations, because when the armies are incredibly similar, for example, 20 crossbows, 3 knights, 11 crossbows, 9 light cav, and 3 cav archers, which on the whole are fairly similar. Especially when you just run your units like this and they die to the crossbows. Maybe not similar in quantity, but similar in DPS. A high ground with the extra 25% attack can play a significant and critical role. But for now, the lighter light cav are running away from these knights. Do they have... It kind of feels like they have husbandry as well. They do not. Okay, now it's becoming apparent that they don't. Look at how much slower they're moving, and and look at the gap between the 2 units is just growing. Bear activates against the knights. Try to take down my mill, will ya? Says Vivi as he gets revenge. Pumps a structure full of arrows, Don Quixote style, against the tilting mill. Oh, but now a bunch of cav archers, light cav. This Briton army is about to get surrounded. Knights to the north are not really helping out here. They're being zoned out by the crossbows, but the damage output of these Briton crossbows is absolutely epic. And even though the light cavalry units do have 2 extra armor and then an extra armor on top of that pierce-wise, they seem to be falling incredibly quickly to the superior crossbow numbers here. That being said, slowly, defender's advantage is working out here for MbL, who still has a kill lead. Although it is getting narrower and narrower, especially now that a mangonel is going to come into the fray. Tower. 2 towers. Okay. So MbL says, you know what? I don't want to deal with you at all right now. Let me build up my army. Let me get my numbers to where I want them to be. And you just get the hell out of here. Oh, forget 2 towers. How many towers is our Turk building? He's going up to 5 towers. Not something we see in the castle age at the 34-minute mark of the game. And Vivi is housed again. What is going on this game for a player who is putting on all of the aggression? And holy moly, aggression it is here with a 34-minute castle. He is housed a lot. 4th TC for our Briton, very forward. So yeah, this is definitely the posturing with an exposed TC like this, and a villager who's just kind of, yeah, thinking about life, writing in his diary. I woke up today, there was battles everywhere, and I just had to take my shirt off and suntan. This is the posturing of a player who wants to be aggressive. 5th down center as well, but the cav archers are here. +2/+2 on them. They should get a few villager kills before they eventually get taken care of here. He says, as nothing is coming to take care of them. Okay, they get shoot away at the same time. Yet another tower for our Turk. Sees the castle. Castle sees the infrastructure. Imperial Age for our Briton. Imperial Age for our Turk, who places also not as risky, I would say, as this town center, but a risky TC nonetheless in the middle of nowhere. To be fair, though, our Turk does have the more mobile, quicker army. Needs to heal some of these units up. Both of these players need to heal their armies up. Crossbowmen are down about 120 HP. Cav archers are down about 200 HP. Will our Turk get a castle? And if so, where? He just spent... I mean... He just spent a castle's worth of stone, right? What's 6 times 125? 725 stone on these towers, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. Not exactly spirit of the law here. So ringing his settlement in a manner that will shoo away foot archers, and foot archers, baby. We've got him out. The longbowmen, not a unit you see a lot in 1v1s. Hello, okay. 5 fresh recruits kind of just hanging out and waiting. Oh, man. He caught out, it looks like, a few villagers here, and so suspects that those villagers are moving somewhere, and then finds that somewhere that they're moving out to. Another tower. I mean, at some point, Vivi is just going to risk his units underneath these towers. Okay, villager for a crossbowman. It looks like a castle is going up for our Turk. I mean, if you're going to go cavalry archers, you're going to need the Sipahi, which, interestingly enough, is a castle age upgrade. One of the most powerful castle age upgrades, if I'm just running off my opinion about things. Looks like these 5 did manage to get a few kills. Villagers? No, they got military kills. And now he's an Imperial. They immediately become Hussars. I love seeing that Turkish feature in action. We'll keep an eye on these Hussars to see how many units they can kill. In the meantime, the longbows, who are also an Imperial, have 10 range at the moment, despite just having the +3 of Bracer. But they dipped their toe into the grass. The sign said, keep off the grass. And they effed around and found out. It's a pretty powerful upgrade as Sipahi. Number one, it's not that expensive. If I'm not mistaken, just 150 gold. I guess they figure if you're going to spend all your gold on those cav archers, not exactly discounted they are. No, I'm talking like Yoda. Not exactly discounted they are. You can't really afford the upgrade. But it does add 20 extra HP, which with Bloodlines gives you a 90 HP cav archer. And again, if that upgrade was more expensive, maybe it would be less effective, but it is not expensive at all. Castle down. Down. Uh-oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Did he save? No, he did not save that bombard cannon. Looks like the castle did manage to snipe it. And all of a sudden, we've got an entire ring of castles down the north-south corridor of the map. And our Briton is taking the stone. He has so many villagers, there's not enough surface area to take the stone. And oh no, our Turk thinks there's stone here, and so he's putting down a mining camp. Oh, the stone is gone. Vivi is literally 1 step ahead of his opponent. Literally 1 step ahead of his opponent. in every single regard here. And MbL, he's got the Hussars. He's got only 25 villagers on food. Maybe needs to get that number double to that. Ooh, Vivi sees that there's a tower here, cancels the castle, places it where it can attack the tower on the high ground, but luckily for MbL, it will lose the tower, unluckily, but luckily it doesn't manage to save those stone miners. But why do I feel like this game, Vivi has just been ahead of MbL one step, one tiny little step ahead in the aggression, in the progression, in the everything, and MbL is not really making use of these lightning fast, pierce armor heavy raiding units as well as he could have. This Briton base is open, ripe for the taking, ripe for the laming. Anchor castle here for our Turk as well to secure what? I'm not too sure. Our Briton, by the way, also has 2 relics to 0 at the moment. And another tower versus castle, longbow. Looks like he spawned, walked to the wrong part of town and then died. But oh my goodness, how many villager kills? Wait a second, what got all these villager kills if not the castle? The castle just has 1 kill. I see at least 3 dead villager here's. 3 dead villagers here. Okay. Something got those villager kills. We'll have seen that. Maybe it's a knight. No, you are a fresh recruit. The center bombardment is underway. Not exactly the strongest unit. Seeing the Hussar, our Briton adds the other counter trash units. And I think I just saw artillery being researched for our Turk, which means 14 range bombard cannons. 14 range bombard cannons. Longbows, only 10. And there's yeoman. Now, whereas Sipahi is, I think, criminally cheap, yeoman, is it yeoman or yeomans? Yeoman is criminally expensive. But that's going to give these longbows 11 range, and if we're lucky enough to see elite 12 range. So my intro proving to be prophetic. We are going to get to see the longest range bombard cannon take on the longest range foot archer in the game. And Vivi is denying MbL's proxy expansions all over the map, while at the same time pushing into the center. And like I said, or I was about to say before I interrupted myself, there's Sipahi and ballistics. This is not exactly the strongest army, but man, is it annoying to have to deal with these 11 ranged units. That being said, bombard cannons. Both of these units need to be careful. The longbow needs to be careful of the BBC, because if it lands a ball when they're clumped, a bunch of them will die. Whereas the BBC needs to be very careful of the incremental, slight, but nevertheless never-ending damage of the longbow. Because 7 attack against your 5 armor. And look at the upgrades now. Parthian tactics, thumb ring, ring archer armor, conscription. MbL just bankrupted himself. He just literally bankrupted himself to upgrade his cav archers. He's only got enough gold for 4 cav archers. Okay, 7. He's gonna have to quote-unquote balance his economy, but he's got nothing to balance it with. He's got less than 100 food, less than 100 stone. Okay, he does have the wood, but probably needs that for the cav archers, no? MbL, I mean, he just roided out his cav archers galore, but at what cost? And like I said, these 2 units really need to be careful, because they can snipe one another all the live long day. If the BBC lands even just 1 ball in the midst of this clump of longbows, it is very bad news. Let's see what's going on around the map. Castle is attacking the proxy stables that never really got off the ground. Castle is pushing into this proxy position. The stone has been abandoned maybe a little bit too early for our Turk, while at the same time the push in the center continues. Now the halberdiers are here as well, but to the cav archers with Parthian tactics, they should die fairly quickly. +4 attack bonus against these units. Why is MbL being so gun shy right now? Why is he not engaging? Even underneath the castle, you should be able to engage with Turkish Hussars. Okay, picks off the Treb, which means the immediate threat is done. Oh my goodness, halberdiers. I mean, Vivi is just everywhere. Looks like MbL is trying to raid on the other side of the map, but he's raiding with 2 Hussars. We'll keep an eye on that as well, see how many kills he can get. But in the center, I mean, it's really unfortunate that he's losing an individual longbow every single time, given how inaccurate the bombard cannon is, or rather can be, against these longbows. But this is what I'm talking about. Incrementally, little by little, arrow by arrow, the longbow will eventually, like Thanos, inevitably kill the bombard cannon. Army counts for both players are ridiculously low for a 51-minute game. And I mean, Vivi is just sniping villagers. He's sniping hussars. He's sniping everything. Bombard cannons. One last BBC remains for our Turk, who looks okay. I was gonna say it looks like he was about to try to collapse in on this Briton army like he did about 1,000,000 years ago over here. But wow, Vivi, like I said, just seems to be one step ahead of MbL this entire game. And even though the game, I knew the game would be good. I shouldn't say I knew. That makes me sound like a jackass. I suspected the game was going to be good when they were just nonstop for the first 10 minutes aggressing against each other with those small groups of militiamen. But wow, town center has fallen. Castles are up all over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Briton castles. Now, the Briton may have gone a little bit overboard on the villager count based on how many resources he had when he won this game. Look at that gold. MbL, on the other hand, having lost 62 villagers to 13. I mean, Vivi is slowly becoming the villager killer of the month. If, you know, how some companies have employee of the month, if you have I guess like a weird medieval bloodlust version of that, they would be the villager killer of the month, and Vivi is that one. Look at that, 62 to 13. Wow, more than 5 times the villager, actually just a little under 5 times the villager kill. But MbL did not make it easy for his opponent. Look at the total kill count, 173 to 172. Literally after 52 minutes, the players are 1 kill apart. Let's take a look at the numbers in the economy, because this game was absolutely epic. 77 hussars, 72 longbows, cav archers to arbalesters, crossbow to halberdier. Okay, fine, they were halberdiers for the majority of the game. But did MbL bankrupt himself a little prematurely to get all of those juicy upgrades that we saw about, when was it, a few minutes ago, for his cavalry archers? They are at 90 HP. I mean, the heavy cav archer upgrade is not a cheap upgrade. 900, 500 gold. It is not a cheap upgrade to get. And so would he have been better served getting that and going up to 100 HP and a little bit better stats? Or did he do the right thing here? Or did he just underutilize his hussars? I feel like the hussars should have been rating a lot more than they were, especially since Vivi's base, like I mentioned earlier, just looks completely open. But wow, Vivi, I mean, he is just toppling all of the big names, all of the heavy hitters of this game. PKPM for MbL halfway through the game. PKPM, oh, look at that, pretty much at the same time, 2 minutes apart. So it wasn't that 10-minute mark that I thought it was going to be. Let's take a look at the economies. Yeah, I mean, what is this? 15,000 more resources for our Briton. He had 3 relics at the end of the day. At the end of the day, more food for our Turk, barely. Literally 33, right? 33 chicken nuggets difference between them players. Everything else very much in favor of the Briton. A lot more wood, a lot more gold, a lot more stone. I can't see conversions at all. Raisings 46 to 0. Mamma mia. I love that we saw yeomen. Again, criminally expensive. I love that we saw artillery. I love that we saw Sipahi, criminally cheap. And what an absolute banger of a game. And I just, Vivi. I mean, I would say he's a rising star, but rising stars don't have 27-11 Elo. I mean, he was quiet for the last little while. I've casted Vivi games before. I have never experienced such aggression. Is this like an Age of Empires version of Roid Rage? Is Vivi taking some kind of supplement? Some kind of something, a little injection to the butt cheek that is making him incredibly aggressive? Because he is just game after game putting on the aggression. And like I said, it might be hard for the Turk to deal with a 12 range longbow, now elite fully 12 range longbow, but you do have one of the best rating units in terms of longevity with 7 pierce armor, and MbL was just too focused trying to expand outwards. He did place 2 stables here. He did expand out here with a stable as well, but they literally accomplished little to nothing. And with that, Vivi, man, I'm just gonna keep watching Vivi games, and I'm gonna hope that they're all gonna be like this. And what a cool ending animation on pulling the drawstring of the longbow. These two take the W, does Vivi in an absolute aggressive multi-pronged. Literally, look at the minimap. He is everywhere. Always one step ahead of our Turk in this particular game, and Vivi with that prescience and with that map control and with that economy and the longbow and the castles and all of it takes the W. But GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.